Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm going to put something to the test today. I'm really going to put something to the test today. I have said for a long time, and I'll say this. So yesterday was the 5-year anniversary of Bryce Harper signing with the Phillies. Just to let you know what was going on with me that day. And it ties into why something I'm doing the show today. It was a 5-year anniversary of Bryce Harper. That day was the last day Amy Fadul and I hosted Philly Sports Talk. And we're like, wow, what a way to go out. You know what I mean? So I'll never forget. We're getting ready for the show, and I went down to the cafeteria area and got something to eat, and immediately had food poisoning. Like I'm talking about like 3 bites in, something was awry. It was, and literally just got sick immediately. And I was like that for about 3 hours leading up to the show. And they're like, can you do the show? I was like, I'm going to do the show. I'm doing the show. That's going to happen. What if something happens on air? It's the last show anyway. Who gives a damn? Pretty much. And anyway, I do the show, and I remember thinking after the hour was done, I felt fine, because there's no greater cure than the red light. I'm telling you right now, if you're ever feeling sick or whatever the case may be, do a podcast, do a show of some kind. There is no better cure than the red light. And as I am telling you this story, the migraine I woke up with this morning is gone. It was there a minute and 55 seconds ago, and now it's gone, because there's no greater cure than the red light. Now, maybe after the show, I'll continue to have this migraine. I've also just been fighting something over the last couple of days. Good Lord. Today would be a good day to stay inside and actually watch the combine, ladies and gentlemen. Linebackers are going today. Oh! Defensive linemen, linebackers get underway today at 3 o'clock in Indianapolis for the combine. Now, why are linebackers such a big deal? Oh, but why would it even matter in Philadelphia? Well, because apparently the Eagles have already been meeting with some linebackers at the NFL combine, including Edgerrin Cooper of the Aggies, Texas A&M. We'll get into him a little bit on the show today. And this would be amazing. This would be beautiful. There would be no better way for the Eagles to say, hey, for the last 20 years of linebacker play in Philadelphia, Miss Scusi, okay? I'm sorry that we did what we did to you when we didn't take the linebacker position seriously. We're going to reset it by drafting the son of the last great linebacker to play in Philadelphia, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the junior Axeman, coming to Philadelphia. Axe boy? I don't know. Axe little fella? I don't know what you call him. Son of the Axeman? That sounds like a horror movie. And now the son of the Axeman comes to Philadelphia. I'm just saying, it would be the best way to kind of reset the linebacker position in Philadelphia. And look, like Michael Kendrick's not a great linebacker, but a good linebacker. TJ Edwards, not a great linebacker, but a good linebacker. The last great linebacker we had here was Jeremiah Trotter. And the last time we had a defensive coordinator that knew how to use a linebacker was Jim Johnson. All I'm saying is it'd be a nice little fit here in Philadelphia to have him back. It would be a perfect story, and he'd also one hell of a player. So we'll get to that conversation today, as those guys have already met with the Eagles, and you saw right there in our clip from Jacob Media, our social media clip, that he would call it a blessing to be able to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, it'd be a blessing to have you, because it would show that the Eagles are actually investing in that linebacker position again with somebody of a little bit of note, somebody that's known a little bit here in Philadelphia, not just because of his name, but also playing at St. Joe's Prep. Nice to see it. It would be great. It would be a beautiful story that hopefully would bear beautiful fruit here in Philadelphia. So we'll get into that conversation. Also, a former, a soon-to-be free agent Cowboy, possibly playing for Kellen Moore again. That story was thrown out there yesterday on ESPN. We'll get to that on today's program. The Phillies get home run happy yesterday. Harper hits a home run. Alec Boehm hits a home run. JT Realmuto hits a home run. This is insane to me. And I said this in the very early goings, pitchers and catchers, I said this. This year, you are going to have a better first baseman than you have had in recent Phillies memory. Both sides of the plate, both in front of the plate and next to the plate, if you will, when it comes to who your first baseman is going to be in the field and who your first baseman is going to be at the plate. And that's Bryce Harper. You have upgraded your first base spot. And I am the farthest thing from a Rhys Hoskins hater. But let's just acknowledge you have a better ball player at first base and a better ball player, obviously, in the lineup in Bryce Harper. I think the Phillies have taken a step forward in that direction. They have realized, they looked at Rhys Hoskins' abilities and said, yep, we get it. Thanks, but we can upgrade the position and also add around the field as well. We're getting a guy like Whit Merrifield to play basically anywhere you need him to play. I think we realize that. Giving yourself some optionality in the outfield with what you can do with Johan Rojas, Brandon Marsh when he comes back, Nick Castellanos, give him a breather, Kyle Schwarber, give him a breather. The Phillies are a better team in this upcoming season, especially at the first base spot. To have Bryce Harper at that spot all year, knock on wood, to stay healthy, the Phillies are going to be set at that position. And I know that some people had some question, but it's amazing how Bryce Harper, and I'm not just talking about one play he made yesterday, but the one play he made yesterday made me think of Bryce Harper in the time that he played first base last year. Simply looking like a guy who has played first base his entire life. Some of those guys just have that mentality. We talk about this in baseball. We talk about it in every sport. Some guys, hey, the team needs you to do this today. Okay, got it. But you've never played that before. You've never done it before. Yeah, whatever. I got it. If that's Bryce Harper's mindset, that's Bryce Harper's mentality. To see him go in his first spring training game, go yard, and also make a great play in the field. Chef's kiss. Love to see it. We'll get to the Phillies a little bit later in the show today. And also, Nick Sirianni, yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, did not impress. 2 days ago, I should say. Did not impress when he addressed the media and all that. And I saw a lot of people taking up and running with the idea of his system, whatever the hell that is, meshing with what Kellen Moore does. You guys tell me. Here's the clip. I don't know why this got any traction. I listened to it while it was happening. I didn't play it for you yesterday. I played why he wanted to hire Kellen Moore and all that stuff, but this is Nick Sirianni yesterday, 2 days ago rather, talking about Kellen Moore, and the question is from Jeff McClain, what meshes so well between Kellen Moore and what he does and your system? Tell us, Nick.
Yeah, good question. So obviously Kellen, I hired Kellen because I felt like he was the best guy for the job, and Kellen's been successful in every place that he's been. I know it's relatively a young career, but he's been successful as a player. He's been successful as a coach. And so, I like the way he thinks about football and the way he takes everything in and is able to make decisions off of that. So it's been fun getting to know him. I've always had respect from him from afar. And it's been fun to getting to know him and work through these things together, to build our offense for next season. And so he's been highly successful, and we've been highly successful. And I think that, I'm really looking forward to meshing the things, meshing what he's done really well together with the things that we've done really well. I think it's going to be a really good match. And Kellen's track record speaks for itself.
We know the track record. We've seen the track record. I said that these were good hires that the Eagles had when it came to Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. If you would have told me you brought in this experience, not just experience, but guys that have had success with their units in the NFL, then I'm happy, and that's got to be a good hire. And I feel like this is, on both sides, a good hire. But the meshing of the system, I don't know why this is actually caught people's attention, because for that, you'd have to tell me what the hell Nick Sirianni does. What is his system? Because I've seen night and day with one common denominator. They don't throw to the running backs. But what is Nick Sirianni's system? How much of that was Shane Steichen, or as Howie Roseman referred to him, the savant of football? A savant of football. What is Nick Sirianni's system? If I had to ask you, go ahead in the comments, on social media, hit me up. Describe for me Nick Sirianni's system. Go ahead. What is it? Take your time. I don't know what that is. Because I don't know if his system is certainly not West Coast. It's not a West Coast system. And that's fine. What is his system? What is his scheme? A meshing of systems. One of it is just, hey, Jalen Hurts, make a play. Hey, Jalen Hurts, you have the freedom to make a play. As we learned in the Marcus Hayes article from one veteran, These guys can basically do what they want. Or from Nick Sirianni, they have the freedom to make a play. Okay, well, what is that scheme? Because under Shane Steichen, I saw Jalen Hurts utilized beautifully. And as I've pointed out many times, this year we were supposed to see the Eagles embrace the uniqueness of Jalen Hurts' game. Didn't see that. Saw the opposite of that. If they want him to be this pocket passer, that's stupid. Will there be plays where he sits in the pocket, delivers the ball, timing routes, all that stuff? Yeah, that's called being a quarterback. But outside of that, where are you embracing the other unique aspects of his game? His ability to run, his ability to scramble, his ability to throw the ball downfield. What are you doing as a system, as a scheme, versus Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, and now Kellen Moore? I can't tell you what Nick Sirianni's scheme is, because I think a lot of it, especially in a successful run under Shane Steichen, it was obviously Jalen Hurts playing phenomenal football, using your wide receivers phenomenally well, at least looking every once in a while at a running back. And then under Brian Johnson, none of that. You bring in DeAndre Swift and don't let DeAndre Swift do the thing that makes him so damn unique, so damn good, and has made him had success as a running back individually with the Lions. And then you bring him here to Philadelphia, you're like, I guess we'll run the ball sometimes. Are we going to throw the ball to him? Oh, God, no. But he's pretty good at it. No, that's ridiculous. Why would we do that? So under Kellen Moore, what is he meshing with? That was one thing that jumped out to me. The other is a little, I think it's right in the beginning here. You might hear from Nick Sirianni. Just 2 seconds here. Just listen.
Yeah, good question. So obviously Kellen, I hired Kellen because I felt like he was the best guy.
I hired Kellen. I don't believe that you hired him. I believe this is who your offensive coordinator is going to be. All right, sounds good. Let's go get him. I hired Kellen. I don't believe you. Kellen Moore, according to Nick Sirianni, and let's not lose sight of the fact that the initial press conference that we heard right at the end of the season, where Nick Sirianni was addressing the media for the first time after the debacle that was the end of the year, the offensive coordinator is going to be in charge of the offense. Well, whose offense is going to be? It's going to be our offense. Interesting. It's going to be our offense. Because all last year, we heard you talk about, Nick, that this was your offense. Brian calls the play. So this is going to be different. If you're Kellen Moore and you're coming in here, are you coming in here to, obviously you're coming in here to work with a head coach, certainly. But are you coming in here to mesh philosophies? Because what Kellen Moore likes to do anyway, then we learned this from watching him in Dallas, is stretch the field. When RJ Ochoa was on our show from Blogging the Boys, said the same thing. Loves to stretch the field, loves to run up the score, loves to throw the football. If you're looking to run it, not really a thing. Not really a thing for Kellen Moore. But if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan who finds yourself every game day yelling at the TV, why aren't they running the football? Or in the stands at Lincoln Financial Field, or traveling to games yelling, run the football. Kellen Moore's not going to deliver for you on running the football. That's not a thing for Kellen Moore. I think the happy medium here is maybe, possibly, you throw the ball to your running backs, whoever they're going to be in the upcoming season. Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, and somebody else. As I've said before, I think the Eagles are drafting a running back, and I think they're going to be I think that person is going to be splitting carries. If everything works out, splitting carries with Kenny Gainwell. I think that's going to be their plan going forward. Now, the other interesting thing here, also tied to Kellen Moore for the Eagles, was this little nugget dropped by Tim McManus of ESPN. The Eagles are listed by Tim McManus as a possible fit for Tony Pollard of the Cowboys for a reunion with Kellen Moore? Say what? That is bonkers. Looking at Tony Pollard, as he stands right now, he'll be 27 when the season starts. He is coming off another 1,000-yard season for the Cowboys. On the receiving end of things, he caught 55 passes for the Cowboys out of the backfield. This is without Kellen Moore a year ago, because Kellen Moore was in I almost said San Diego, was with the Chargers last year, but caught 55 passes out of the backfield. He had a 1,000-yard season back-to-back years now. The year previously with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator and play caller, 39 receptions out of the backfield, 39 receptions out of the backfield, 28 receptions, 15 receptions out of the backfield under Kellen Moore. So again, that's not really going to be a thing. But you know when coordinators come in, they like to have at least one guy that kind of speaks their language and can translate for whatever the coordinator wants to do with some of the new people that he's going to be coaching. He can help translate for what's going on with Kenny Gainwell, with what Kellen Moore really wants to see on any given play. They like to have one guy. Maybe that guy is not a regular starter. Maybe that guy is a part-time player, but he's just there to kind of speak the language of the coach or coordinator to the rest of the team so the communication doesn't overall break down. And if Nick Sirianni is true to his word, which is communication is one of the biggest things. It's one of the key attributes, the key fundamentals they have. Connectivity. Communication, accountability, all that. Well, then this would make sense for a lot of reasons. Look, the fact that he played for the Cowboys, I know there's some people, I don't want a Cowboy on my team. I get it. This isn't DeMarco Murray where you're looking at Tony Pollard to come in here and be your franchise running back and be, the leader in the NFL in rushing. You're not looking at him in a DeMarco Murray sense. Not at all. You're looking for him to be a cog in the wheel of a, by the way, hardly ever used wheel. You're not looking to become the Tennessee Titans where you're depending on Derrick Henry. You're looking at someone to help you out of the backfield. You're not looking for somebody to carry you out of the backfield, no pun intended. But getting back to meshing of schemes, if you had to describe it, what is the scheme that you run here in Philadelphia under Nick Sirianni? What is it that Nick Sirianni does? What is it that Shane Steichen did? Brian Johnson did, and what is it you're going to see from Kellen Moore? Because I'm not expecting heavy influence here from Nick Sirianni. As we've seen throughout his tenure as the Eagles head coach, diminishing power and diminishing influence, as it would turn out. Then the Eagles started to turn things around a little bit. For me, in his first year, when he gave play calling to Shane Steichen, you see him get to a Super Bowl in his second year. You see this team with less involvement from Nick Sirianni go to a Super Bowl. Then this year, you go to a rookie offensive play caller, and you continue to have struggles. It's a wild thing that we have watched in the stripping of power, dwindling power of Nick Sirianni. Now Nick Sirianni is going to go to a guy that has 5 years of experience under his belt as a play caller and offense coordinator. And he's supposed to help him out. I still need that defined role. Not a title. Not a title. I need the defined role of Nick Sirianni when it comes to this football team. So Tony Pollard potentially coming here to Philadelphia is a very interesting thing. Let's get to these linebackers. As I said today at the Combine, you're supposed to be getting linebacker play, which is a great thing, which is something I actually will be sitting home and watching today. But Edgerrin Cooper is a name that has been associated with the Eagles. He met with them at the Combine already in Indianapolis. Bigger guy, taller guy, I should say. Not bigger, but taller guy than Jeremiah Trotter Jr., if you're looking at that comparison. He's 6'3", goes about 230. Had one of his best games last season. His best game last season, actually, against Alabama. So if you're going to have a good game, Edgerrin Cooper having a hell of a game against Bama is a good game. Is a hell of an opponent to have a good game against. Now, when you're looking at, when I say good game, he had 11 tackles in that game, 3 tackles for loss, ladies and gentlemen, 3 sacks in that game. An aggressive player. I've seen some people refer to him as the human torpedo. I wouldn't mind having a human torpedo. But the other thing here is the small frame. He's tall, but 230. Again, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 6 foot, 230. A little stockier, runs in the family a wee bit. But Edgerrin Cooper, quick player, fast player, plays the linebacker position more like a safety, a free safety from back in the day. But I'd be curious. I'm very interested to see if the Eagles even go in the first 2 rounds of the linebacker position. I would love for them to be able to do that. I would love for them to do it and give us some hope on the defensive side of the football and give us some hope for the linebacker position. I don't have a lot of confidence that they will because I'm scarred, as I'm sure many of you are as well. But love the fact that they did sit down and talk with this linebacker. Then obviously next up, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who they also met with out of Clemson. Mention the size, talk about speed, great instincts for a young player, for who would be a rookie, obviously. This would be the one that I think would right the ship. This is the most potential. Yes, for namesake, and also for actual ability. If his name was Joe Smith, the ability is still very appealing to me. This isn't a courtesy interview, I don't think. People will look at this and be like, well, it's because it's his son, and he played in Philadelphia. I don't think the Eagles, honestly, I don't think they care. I will say this. Howie Roseman has come out in the past, in that last press conference of the season, and talked about Nakobe Dean and the of confidence. That's great. You can have all the confidence you want, all the confidence in the world in Nakobe Dean. Excuse me. This goes far beyond confidence. This is about ability, and it's also about depth. Why not try to groom 2 of these guys? Because you haven't really done a great job of bringing in great talent at the linebacker position. We're doing cartwheels a year ago over the way Zach Cunningham was playing. And Zach Cunningham was what, your 3rd option? Shaq Leonard was your 4th? Nakobe Dean playing the way he was playing, which was hardly, and not great, gets hurt. You got to go back out on the scrap heap. You got to go at Miles Jack in the preseason. You got to go at Zach Cunningham. Miles Jack talks about how he wants to survive a zombie apocalypse before anything else. That to me is a little frightening. He goes away. I'm out. Ends up signing with the Steelers for the end of the season. Zach Cunningham stays and becomes your best linebacker. That wasn't supposed to happen. So linebacker, even though you just took one 2 years ago into Kobe Dean, even though you've been grooming him and he can't stay healthy, you're looking at a player right now or these 2 players in Cooper and Trotter that I think would be great here in Philadelphia. And if the Eagles decide to go that direction, I'm not just excited because they drafted a linebacker. I'm excited because they drafted talent at a position where they obviously need talent. Other than defensive line, we all know it's been one hell of a struggle. One hell of a struggle for the Eagles defensively and trying to bring in talent, grooming talent, growing talent. It's been a horrible thing to watch. Having to go out there and get James Bradbury. Great for 1 year, terrible last year. Bringing in Darius Slay. A solid Eagles career, as we know. Bringing a guy like Reed Blankenship along, I wish he didn't get hurt at the end of the year. I wish he didn't miss as many games as he did. Wish he had more room to grow. Sidney Brown, we're going to see when he's going to be able to come back. Talk about a human torpedo. He can certainly bring that to the table from the safety position. Bringing guys like that, Keely Ringo, you hope can mature into that everyday starter. I might get that opportunity even this year. We'll see. James Bradbury's in the plans. Let's not forget it. But I'm crossing my fingers that they are looking at the linebacker position and are actually going to invest in that position with a high draft pick. Not just for let's fill this slot, but because they feel like they're getting great talent and they're spending wisely when it comes to the investment of a high draft pick. Whether it's their first round pick, 2 of their seconds, whatever the case may be, that's something that the Eagles need to look at. And we all know that. But I think we all are finding it very hard to believe that the Eagles would be looking at this draft going, linebacker is where we're going to go. We might want it. We might be praying for it. We might be begging for it. But as of right now, I don't think anybody's betting on it. If that's the case, they're going to look. Either one of these guys, Cooper, Trotter, would be good fits here in Philadelphia. I don't think many of us actually buy it. And that's the disturbing thing. It is a beautiful story, though, if you talk about the Eagles in this regard and the idea of how much of a blessing it would be to be able to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you're Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I think we'd all love to see it. Today, defensive linemen, linebackers will be on the field, 3:00. I'll be sitting there, hopefully feeling a lot better. watching linebackers and defensive linemen run around the field. Couple more things I wanted to get into today before we get to our beautiful chat check and check in with all you wonderful people. The Phillies yesterday, 7-7 tie against the Atlanta Braves. I mentioned Bryce Harper earlier. After the game, he was talking about how comfortable he was. Did you see what hat he was wearing, by the way? Did you catch any of his post-game interviews yesterday? He was wearing a Bad Hair Club hat. As a bald man, there are very few who make me wish I had hair. Tyrese Maxey makes me wish I had hair. Could you imagine a little Maxey do on Farzi's old dome here? Huh? Bryce Harper makes me wish I had hair. I love being bald. Don't get me wrong. To the fellow members of the bald community, I'm not betraying us. But Bryce Harper wearing a Bad Hair Club hat, don't do that. Embrace it. But anyway, during the interview, he was talking about how comfortable he is at that first base position, how fluid he already feels at that position. At the plate, just making sure he gets good swings. He had a home run, so it was a nice little swing there. But this is, without question now, the Bryce Harper Philadelphia Phillies. Now, you might say, oh, it's always been. There has been something about Rhys Hoskins, and this isn't from me. This isn't an opinion I have. This is what's been told to me by players in the clubhouse. This has been Rhys Hoskins' team. Bryce Harper has been unquestionably the leader on the field. But the glue guy, and I hate to use that term for a guy that was supposed to be a starter, he's not Garrett Stubbs, Rhys Hoskins, okay? And I love Garrett Stubbs, but that is a definition of a glue guy. But for whatever reason, especially this past year when he wasn't healthy, but he was still around the team, Rhys Hoskins, this was Rhys Hoskins' team. Grew up with these guys more or less in the farm system. Guys came into this team with Rhys Hoskins already here, including Bryce Harper. It doesn't make sense to me. This is what's been told to me. This is now unquestionably, all around, start to finish, Bryce Harper's team. This isn't anything to be compared to when Pat Gillick traded away Bobby Abreu to give the team to Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley and Ryan Howard and let that core rise up through the ranks. It's not quite on that level, but it's similar in this one way. He is now the guy unquestionably. There's nobody on this team other than maybe Aaron Nola that has outlasted Bryce Harper. Being a guy that will learn a new position just to get into the swing of things faster and help the team better. He could have just said, I'll come back and be the designated hitter. But he knew it would help the team if he came back and played first base. The spot was open. Rhys wasn't going to be playing all year. And also, if you're talking about a contract extension, which I still think is crazy, then it helps you the most if you can play designated hitter, or if you can be a designated hitter and you can play first base. That's how you help the ball club. That's also how you can prove I can go a couple more years, maybe. Bottom line is it helped the team. The bottom line, even under that one, is that he's better. He picked up a first baseman's mitt and was immediately better than Rhys Hoskins. It reminded me of hearing a story of Ross Tucker talk about Jason Peters in football. A tight end, Jason Peters, was at camp with an offensive lineman, a tackle, in Ross Tucker. And Ross Tucker said, they just said, hey, Jason Peters, go over there and play left tackle. Let's see if he can do it. And he did it. And in 2 seconds, he was better than Ross Tucker, as the story goes. It reminds me a lot of Bryce Harper in this scenario. Just go out there, play first base, let's see what you got. Oh, you're diving into camera wells? Oh, you're diving to your right to make perfect plays and easy tosses to first base for a pitcher covering the bag? It's like he's been doing it his whole life. He's a natural, absolute natural. And it's that kind of leadership that this team needs, both in the vocal category, because we all know Bryce Harper's not afraid to say something, and we also know at the talent level, a 2-time MVP. Everyone knows that every team's got to stay healthy to achieve every goal that you set out in spring training. I can't remember a time where I was this confident in this Phillies team breaking camp. And I hope that they just maintain this for the rest of spring training. And he got 4 weeks from yesterday. 4 weeks from yesterday of opening day against the Braves. Against those Braves you played yesterday. Tied 7-7. if they're able to maintain this with this lineup, that rotation, maybe add one more piece in terms of an arm. Love to see that Christopher Sanchez has been working up some new pitches. You'll love to hear that. Think he's got a lot of talent. He's got to work on his stamina, obviously. Adding more pitches to his repertoire, to his arsenal, is a wonderful thing. But if this is able to maintain these guys that they have right now on this lineup with Bryce Harper at first base, Trey Turner not having to play in the World Baseball Classic and apparently unloading everything in that World Baseball Classic for the first 4 months of the season, I just have a lot of confidence in this Phillies team and what they're going to be able to do in the upcoming year. Johan Rojas getting all bulk. There's always a story every single spring of somebody bulking up. Oh, they look jacked, man. I remember Charlie Manuel talking about Chase Utley with his shirt on. Chase Utley with his shirt off, man. Yeah, how about that? But yeah, I just have a really good feeling about this Phillies team. For as bad a taste as they left in our mouths last year, and even in the World Series, the way they played the last 2 games, bad taste. But I just have a really good feeling about this Phillies team this year. Really good feeling. Before I get to our chat check, let me tell you about the wonderful people at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer at mybookie.ag. Want to bet on the world of baseball? Want to bet on the world of hockey, basketball? You can do so at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. And when you use promo code FARZI, when you create an account, you'll get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. So take advantage of all they have to offer at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Want to go to the next Flyers game? Want to go to the next Sixers game? You can do it all at Game Time app. The Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code FARZI. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. And how about this? All-in pricing on the Game Time app. So when you get to the end, you're not surprised by, wait, $30 in service fees. What? No. The Game Time app, you know the all-in pricing from the start. Plus, if you find tickets in the same section or row for less money on another site, on another app, the Game Time app will get you back at 110% of the difference. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? So download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code FARZI and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportstation.com. Let's get to the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing. Now, I asked this question, and I'll set the table one more time. How do you describe Nick Sirianni's offense? What is he taking that will mesh? Maybe this is an honest question. I don't know the answer to this. What is Nick Sirianni's scheme, and what of it will mesh well with Kellen Moore? All right, let's eliminate this one thing. Tush push. Okay? Kellen Moore will probably still run the tush push. I don't know any offense coordinator in the NFL that will look at a play with a 96.7 success rate and go, nah, no thanks. Don't need it. Other than that. Good morning, everyone. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Linebackers, Eagles better be there. Oh, they're going to be there. Elephant in the... And it's a pink elephant. That's funny. Would love Trotter Jr. All exclamation points. Or excuse me, all caps. 6 exclamation points. 1, 2, 3, 5 exclamation points. Son of Axe. Conan, the Barbarian. Meet Son of Axe. Sean Kilray, good morning. This is not a nickname show. Good God. Sean Gillespie, you might remember the worst show ever that is ever, the worst type of show in any type of sports talk, whether it be radio, podcast, whatever, is nicknamed. I will never, will never do a nickname show. I just want to make it clear, I'm not soliciting nicknames. Sean Kilrain, what's going on? April. Good morning, April. Fujadamas. How many home runs Bryce Harper hitting this year, Fujadamas? Daniel, what's going on? Good morning. Sean Kilrain. Sirianni, to me, as good as gone after this season. It was shown who ran the offense during our Super Bowl run. And there you have it. And there you have it. Shane Steichen's offense, the savant of football, according to Howie Roseman. Running the Eagles offense goes back to Nick Sirianni with Brian Johnson, and it looked a lot different this year. Bubble screen happy. Run bubble screens to tight ends with Devontae Smith blocking. Is that part of the scheme? I hope Kellen Moore meshing. This is how I hope the meeting goes. Just as an example, with the meshing of scheme. Nick Sirianni, hey, Kellen, we're going to run a bubble screen here. Devontae Smith is going to block for Dallas Goedert. And Kellen Moore goes, hold on a minute. I like your idea of bubble screen. I can work with that. Hold on. Did you say, but let's do this. Let's throw the ball to Devontae Smith. And Dallas Goedert does the blocking. And Nick Sirianni going, whoa. Never thought about that. That's incredible. You have a great football mind. That's how I see that meeting going. Sirianni's system is a joke. But what is the system? What is the system? It's suffering succotash. Chaos. Nick Sirianni's system is chaos. Chaos. Mr. International, button up, ass kisser. You talking to me? Am I the ass kisser? Do you not like the plunging neckline? Many people like my plunging neckline if you're talking about my plunging neckline. I can't go 2 buttons. Puppet extraordinaire. Puppet extraordinaire. Okay. The yes, sir, Howie analytical scheme. Mr. International. There you go. Trot, a.k.a. the Hatch. Ooh! Brian. Wait. Palancar? Trot, a.k.a. the Hatchet? A small axe? The Hatchet? I get it. I like it. Also, the last book I ever read, The Hatchet. Phenomenal story. Phenomenal story. I believe it was on my 7th grade summer reading list. The Hatchet. If you didn't read The Hatchet, you didn't know how to party. If you didn't walk in to the Scholastic Book Fair and buy a copy of The Hatchet, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Mike Vuji, Kellen Moore wants a head coaching job. I agree. Sean Cody, the yes man. Letting other people run the offense, plain and simple, Farzi. That's kind of my point. We've watched Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia for 3 seasons. And yes, all 3 seasons have ended in the playoffs. That's nice. That's a nice thing on the resume, right? But tell me what Nick Sirianni's scheme is. A meshing of schemes. Okay. Sean Gillespie, Kellen Moore will fit right in without running the ball. Yeah, there you go. Jason A. Gosh, I hope we get Trotter Jr., please. Mike Friedel. Call him the Hatchet. Laugh out loud. Love it. Mr. International, I'm more of an Edrin Cooper guy. I can see why. I can see why. But I mean, Cooper, first round talent, though he's too good. I would love him too. Talent, though, is too good. Yeah. Nostalgic purposes, Trotter. I get it. Sean Gillespie says, bring all your coaches' coffee scheme. Cream or sugar? Cream or sugar? Don't forget the donuts, too. Mr. International, Baby Parsons? Okay. Is Edrin Cooper. I'll take it. Please and thank you. Sean Conan. I like to see them bring in John Runyon, 26 during the offseason, trains tackle like Lane Johnson in Johnson's home gym. Dubbed the Bro Barn. I've seen the Bro Barn in South Jersey. Yeah. John Runyon is he was in Green Bay. Also gave an interesting take on how the tush push is going to eventually get banned in the NFL when they're running something similar with Jordan Love. But bottom line, he's a good player. See, here's the thing: is I know a lot of people like Zach Ertz, for instance, when he was available from the Cardinals. I was like, it's not just a cute story. He'd automatically be your second best tight end. Like, you need a tight end, and there's another tight end. I'd have loved to have seen him. Not just for some great story, but because he could help you win. So, yeah. Unfortunately, he wasn't brought in. But John Runyon, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., these aren't just adorable storylines. These are guys that can help you, guys that are good players. I'd love to see John Runyon Jr. come in here. I don't think he's a junior. But he's a good player. I just don't know where he would fit because he would have to play. He'd have to start. Confidence and comfort. There you go. Bryce Harper, player GM. Yeah. Sean Gillespie, Bryce is incredible. I agree. Nick Sirianni is a pass-heavy thinker. Yes. Nick's philosophy complements Kellen Moore's offense. That's probably the best way you can explain it because Nick Sirianni obviously isn't afraid to throw the ball downfield. Nick Sirianni obviously isn't afraid to throw the ball a lot, which is also Jeffrey Lurie's philosophy. So if you're Nick's philosophy, the philosophy of the Eagles fits well with what Kellen Moore likes to do. That's what I'll say. Just as in the defense the Eagles want to see, obviously is great with Vic Fangio because it's Vic Fangio's defense. So philosophically, the way the Eagles want to win games fits very well with the coaching staff that they now have. The Eagles want to throw the ball? Kellen Moore, come on down. The Eagles want to play a soft zone defense. They want to play quarters. They don't want to blitz a lot. They don't want to give up the big play. Come on in, Vic Fangio. So where does that leave Nick Sirianni? Nick Sirianni likes both those things? Because since they brought in Nick Sirianni, they've always wanted to do the Vic Fangio style defense. If there's anything that you could definitely say Nick Sirianni is on the same page with when it comes to this Eagles team and then the philosophy of the front office and Jeffrey Lurie and analytics and all that stuff, if there's anything, it's, well, this is the guidelines I want my defense to play under. That and I guess throwing the football. So that is also there. Bryce Harper is everything you want in a player. Love how clutch he is as far as he. Yeah, I'm with you. Far as you think the Phillies can actually start hot this year? Jason A., let's put it this way. I am hopeful that the Eagles will draft a linebacker in the first 2 rounds. Okay? But I don't think they will. I am hopeful that the Phillies will start out hot this year, but I don't think they will. The Phillies don't even know the season starts until June. They're like, hold on, this hasn't been like a 2-month on-deck series? Remember the on-deck series? They come back from spring training, they play a series. Remember that? What? Floater boy? What's going on? Buen dia, Jefe? Jeffy? Hefe. I'm going to say Hefe. If you're saying dia, I'm going to say Hefe. Buen dia too. Is that Portuguese? I don't know. Are you from Brazil? Are you hitting me up from Brazil? Laugh out loud. No, Nick is an ass kisser now. Okay. All right. Nick is the ass kisser. Thank you for explaining. That makes a ton more sense. Jason A., in theory, I think the meshing of 2 styles is actually pretty good, in my opinion. I agree, but what is the – okay, I understand what Kellen Moore wants to do. And I think I get what Nick Sirianni doesn't mind doing, but are you going to call that a system? Are you going to call that a scheme? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Here's what I do know, though, as I pointed out earlier, you're not going to be throwing to running backs. You're not going to be running the ball. So this is going to be a really rough season for the run the ball crowd. or run to pass ratio crowd. It's going to be a really rough season for that. T-Bro, hashtag trot or not. All right. Jason, what do you think happens if the Eagles start 2-4? 2-4, I don't think that's going to do it. I think it's going to have to be a continuation of a disastrous ending to the season. And I know a lot of people, and Peter King, I really respect Peter King, and what a career. Oh my God, he was calling it a career, and good for him. That's awesome. I've met him a number of times. Extremely nice man. And say he doesn't have a good feeling about the Eagles. Look, the argument for bringing back Nick Sirianni, one that I don't support, but the argument that exists, is he came into it with a defensive coordinator that nobody else wanted. He only had 1 year under his belt, and he's gone. After not even a full year as your defensive play caller, you're bringing in an offensive coordinator now with 5 years under his belt of experience and having had a number one ranked offense. You're moving on from a guy who's never called plays in the NFL before. There are certain times, there are certain things that you saw last year with this offense, and you said to yourself, that's not smart. That's not smart. That could be Brian Johnson learning from his mistakes. What, he's going to be perfect and great in his first go-around? Is he going to be an offensive savant like Shane Steichen? You don't get two of those in a row, folks. I would love to say you get two of them in a row. I would have loved to say, as I did say going into the season, it's going to be hard to mess this up with this talent, especially the offensive side of the football. Hold my beer, said Brian Johnson, because it was messed up towards the end of the year. It was really rough, is what I'm saying to you. But to look at this Eagles team and look at this offense especially and say that they're going to be terrible or have another down year, I don't think that's going to happen. I actually think the Eagles are going to have a good year. I don't think they're going to go in the tank. And again, I think offensively speaking, you have too much talent to be bad 2 years in a row. And they weren't even that bad. Like, cut down on the turnovers. It's a huge ask. But if they do that, you're talking about, again, being one of the top three offenses in the NFL for the year. Not like top three offenses for 13 weeks and then, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and cross my fingers that that's the way it goes. But I don't have a bad feeling about the Eagles. Now, to entertain your question, if they do start poorly, 1-4, 1-5, if it starts like that, Nick is absolutely gone. Kellen Moore is absolutely promoted to head coach. And that's that. That's the way it goes. And in all honesty, I think for the long-term success of the Eagles, I think that's almost what you could be rooting for. Sure, you never want. Look, bottom line is, if you're looking at a year-by-year basis, yes, you want the Eagles to start out 10-1 again, and then you want them to go the rest of the season and not collapse, get the number one seed and all that. Yes, obviously that's a good thing. But then the next year, Kellen Moore's not here. Kellen Moore's going to get another head coaching job somewhere else, or get a head coaching job somewhere else in the NFL if he has success again with another team. If he has success with the Eagles, he's gone. He's a head coach somewhere else. So for long-term success, it benefits the Eagles to almost stumble out of the gate, struggle. Kellen Moore gets promoted to head coach and offensive coordinator, essentially, play caller, if you will. And then he can stay here for 10 years. Hopefully he'd have success. But if you only have the 1 year, you go to the Super Bowl, you go to the NFC Championship game, you're not firing Nick Sirianni and then promoting Kellen Moore. It doesn't happen in the NFL for whatever reason. Did I miss something here in the chat? I want to make sure I didn't miss something here in the chat. Just going back to it real quick. No, okay. A huge ass it was? What? Are we still speaking Portuguese? What's going on here? Come on, guys. It's all about Jeffrey Jones with his Howie and Nick puppets. Jeffrey Lurie? Oh, Jeffrey Jones. I get what you're saying. He's like Jerry Jones. Gotcha. Thank you, Wine Niders Wine. Come on, guys. It's all about Jeffrey Jones. Womp womp. And his Howie and Nick Puppets. Yeah. Sean Curry drafting a quarterback, then hopefully a linebacker. Probably the way it's going to go. Eric Wisniewski, Nick's been gone. I wish that was the case. Joe Whip, what's going on? No closer, no championship. Fair enough. Going to have to outslug some teams, especially in the later innings. Get those guys going. All right, let's get to the morning rush brought to by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies improved to 2-1. 2-1-2, rather. In spring training, they're back at it today against the Blue Jays. 1:07 start time. That one in Dunedin. So you guys can enjoy all they have to offer with that one. As far as your other squads go, 76ers, as I mentioned yesterday, they got another day off. They're going to be back at it tomorrow. And they're going to be in South Philly to take on the Hornets. So, good times. They're back at it Friday. Excuse me. Yeah, tomorrow. 7 o'clock start time against the Charlotte Hornets. And then your Philadelphia Flyers, which, by the way, they just let go of, who was it? Peterson? Cal Peterson? A netminder? I was having this conversation the other day because a buddy of mine blamed me for the failure that has been the Flyers goaltending situation. Because I put it into the ether some years ago saying that, hold on a second, the Flyers have gone 25 years, 30 years without a franchise netminder, without a generational goalie, right? Pelle Lindbergh, unfortunately, with the way that ended, would be the last one they had in their sights. And then they had Sergei Bobrovsky, let him go. He only, two-time best goalie in the NHL? Vezina? And then they let him go. And then Carter Hart comes on the scene. You're like, oh, my God, this Carter Hart guy's going to be amazing. And it's like, yeah, he's no longer with the team. What? I can't say I predicted why. But, yeah. Flyers are also back at it tomorrow night, 7 o'clock puck drop. That one is in Washington against the Capitals. All right, so today, as I've mentioned many times, you got 3 o'clock start with the Combine. Defensive linemen, linebackers will be out there. I know I'll be looking at it going, Hextall, yeah, he was gone, then came back. That's one that did enter the mind. Still pissed they let Bob go. As am I, Eric. We all are. Linebackers, defensive linemen today. Look forward to watching that. I will be watching the Combine today, so I look forward to that. Also, we'll keep track of Phillies spring training, see if these guys stay hot, see what the lineup is today. We'll go with all that and more. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Coming up a little bit later today, 10:20, I'll be joining my friend Bill Colarulo on the Philly Sports Power Hour on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to Jacob Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Farzy Show YouTube channel as well. Smash the like button, people. Smash the like button, all that. I will catch up with you guys for this show tomorrow. And like I said, again, 10:20 later today, I'll be on with Bill Colarulo for the Philly Sports Power Hour. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. See you guys in a little bit on Bill's show, hopefully.